3, 2, 1. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and hello and welcome to End to End, the podcast where we talk about all things pony and a few things not. Joining me today are my lovely co-hosts.
We're still lovely.
George Lightning Rabbit Harrison.
Hello.
Ringo Cabral 95 Star.
Hello.
Jeez.
Myself, John Duhad Lennon. And joining us, our very special guest, Paul the one and only Cloudy Skies McCartney.
Sweet. I have no idea which interest I'm doing.
He's the actual famous one.
Yeah, he's the famous one. If you are fans of the fan site Equestria Daily, you may know Cloudy Skies from his occasional fics that appear on that site. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm a little bit off today, but the point is, Cloudy
fault.
Skies here is a fairly popular fan fiction writer who specializes in romance stories, and Lightning just had a call problem, so he will not be joining us for the next few seconds.
So while he gets set up to do whatever Lightning was wanting to get set up, yes, Lightning Skies. I mixed your names together. Anyways, Cloudy Skies had written stories such as Twice as Bright, which is, I think, your most recent one, if I recall seeing fan fiction last, right?
That's correct.
It is.
Yes.
That's
and
right.
he's also the author of some extraordinarily popular stories like Within and Without. And my probably my personal favorite would be Lost and Found, which apparently almost killed you.
Sorry?
Lost and Found?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, almost destroyed you if your occasional author's notes about that story are to be believed.
Yeah, right, that one was the process.
Ooh, interesting.
Well, at any rate, it is a story that I am a huge fan of, and one that actually got me to really appreciate shipping stories in a way that I had not been able to prior to it.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. So, welcome to the show, obviously, but tell us, what is it... what is it like to be? What is your writing process?
Oh, God. That is possibly the biggest question we could possibly open with. But in short, once... Yeah, I think it's a very personal thing, actually. Every person has a unique process, and mine is basically just write. I say very often that I don't plan, and it's pretty much very true. I plan less than many writers, I think. So once I know what I have to write, the story is in my head, and it's just a question of getting it down to paper. And also, because I don't plan everything ahead, it means that a lot of the story kind of develops organically.
You just make it up as you go? Stuff that flows with you naturally?
That sounds so unprofessional, though. I like to say that I write...
I say it all the time because that's what I do.
Okay, fine. Let's go with that, then.
All right, then.
It isn't actually a terrible way of going about things. In fact, Stephen King famously does not write with a story in mind. Like, he starts with an idea and then he just sort of
expands on it.
Writes what comes into his head.
It's a rather grandiose comparison, though. I mean, Stephen King isn't... I mean, I'm not nearly as...
It's like a grandiose comparison. Yeah. Comparing Stephen King to me, I mean, come on.
Exactly.
He's not that popular.
But I actually think more than the writers we think actually do write like that, because I know I write like that. I know another author who writes like that as well. It seems to be a little bit common in some areas.
Yeah,
maybe. It's just you hear about these writers who treat writing as a job, and I don't mean with regards to how they.
Yeah, I know there's, but they're more out than others. So.
Yeah, I mean, waking up and treating it like a job from 8 to 5 and writing in that space. It's like, for me, it's not something you shut off. You go to take a shower. I literally sometimes have to cut showers short because I have to run and write down ideas. Trying to sleep can be short because you get so many ideas. And that sounds self-aggrandizing, I guess. But that's just because I really value all these ideas and everything. But then again, there are periods where I can't get anything done. I get no ideas. It's like, I don't feel like I'm in control of it, I guess.
Yeah, that's understandable. I often feel that way, though. I'm more generally in the I have no idea of what I'm doing, and I'm just gratefully bankrupt arena.
As well.
But... it is actually always nice to hear someone who really is passionate about their art, though, since there are a lot of writers who really just kind of sit down and just go, I'm going to write this because I think people are going to read it and appreciate me for it. It's writing for the sake of the end product, not for the process, which, while I'm sure there are plenty of people who do that and do that well, it's not a style of writing that I've ever, been able to really recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was wondering that really, that if you can see in a writer's end work whether treat it as a work of passion or as you say, if they write for approval, if they write for the sake of writing, etc. I always wondered if that's visible in the end result, but I really don't know.
It often is, though it kind of can be a little bit blurry. Generally, I kind of get the impression when people write stories that kind of come out with lots and lots of references and lots of, this is something that is popular at the time, so therefore I am going to throw it in there. Lots of... I read a fair number of what are called rift stories, stories that have had other people go in and, kind of make fun of them in between lines and paragraphs and stuff. And a lot of the stories that get rift are, generally kind of like, there's a lot of really bad gore stories, really bad cloud stories and stuff. And a lot of them will follow these patterns. Like, the reason why they're considered so bad is that they, follow these patterns of, here is something that's popular, here's something, like, here are show references that went well, therefore throw them in there. The characters say this in the show, then I'm going to put it in this story because that way, I am writing in this character's voice, even though it's only writing in the character's voice by copying verbatim lines. Or, like, this popular story did this, therefore I'm going to throw it in there. Like, even in non-gore stories and stuff, like, people will just go like, ha ha, Pinky is implied to be a murderer, or implied to be, like, really dark, or like, oh, she has a straight mane, therefore she's a killer, because memes!
Yeah.
All of the memes.
And it's like, if you want to have a story where the character is like that, that's fine, but just doing it as sort of a shorthand of, oh, this is not happening, therefore, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you know what that means.
You know what that means? You win a brand new car!
It feels less like, the person's organically writing the story, and more that they're hitting checkpoints in order to try and, sell to a broader audience.
I think it's a very good point, because in earlier stories, particularly, like, if you look back to around, there's actually a term used by some people called a February fic.
Oh, I recognize that.
You heard that tossed around? Yeah, it was used mostly about stories written in early 2011, because those stories would be very short and to the point. And it's like a ship fic could be as simple as these poems are together, and that's cute. The end, for 500 and 1,000 words or something like that. I was only 500 or 1,000, not 500,000, Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, and around that period as well, it was very common to start the stories with exactly these things you mentioned, like, haha, 20% cooler, all those things, like these little boxes you check off to see, to tie the story to the show in people's minds. It's a very cheap way to get bonus points from a, shall we say, uncritical reader, but yeah, nowadays you don't see that done as much, at least not in stories that
get
stories of quality, if you want to say.
Yes. Now, I'd say a general rule of thumb, and this is obviously a rule of thumb, is not, like, oh, you should never do this, always do this, etc. It's, there's a rule to go by. If a story, for me, one of the things I kind of do is, if a story starts, like, within the first chapter or two, making references like Rainbow Dash just saying something is 20% cooler, or, do X in 10 seconds flat, or Fluttershy is a tree, or anything like that. Anything where it's basically just, I watched the show, check it out. I saw this thing happen in the show once, therefore it's here. Generally, you probably just want to put the story aside, because it's not. It isn't necessarily going to be bad, but there's a significantly smaller chance that it's going to be good than, if you were if the person was a little bit more original. What was another one that just I'm trying to remember it, but there's one thing in particular that always kind of bugs me, but it appears all over the place, like almost as much as 20% cooler and 10 seconds flat and the Fluttershy tree thing. I cannot for the life of me remember it. This is actually kind of embarrassing, but yeah, there's a couple of these things, like these things that appear a lot in the fandom that will get reference, and it's just, they become shorthands for character writing, and it's terrible, because good character writing is really important, and when you just try and substitute it with memes and shorthands, it really doesn't make your story particularly enjoyable.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Which is one of the things I really like about your stories is that I really feel you get the characters' voices down, pat, without just being, quoting verbatim from the show in order to go, see, look, it's totally in character because
it's
they
totally
said that on
in
the
character,
show.
man.
Well, you're very kind to say so. I think that most fanfic writers will take that as a very, very high compliment indeed, because the challenge is, of course, in creating new content that could have been original content, new content that could have been canon content without it being so, instead of using these catchphrases, as you mentioned. So, yeah.
Egghead, that's it. Egghead. Damn it, Rainbow Dash, one... Sorry, just the thing I was trying to think of before. Rainbow Dash, 1 point in the show, 2 points in the show, calls Twilight an egghead.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah,
And
that one.
Now there are, endless numbers of fics which just have, it's just sort of Twilight, is an egghead. Rainbow Dash says, Twilight, egghead. If that happens once, in a story, once or twice, in order to establish something within the character's mindset, it's less egregious than just quoting verbatim from the show. But I do usually find it kind of annoying when people just fall Double Rainbow recently had a dialogue scene between Twilight and Rainbow Dash, and in order to sell it as being character dialogue, they kind of just have Rainbow Dash going "Hey, egghead, see you're doing eggheady things with your egghead science." Egghead.
I have not the pleasure of watching it, but I've heard things to that effect.
I've heard things.
Yes.
Things.
Rumors.
Things and rumors. I'm actually kind of curious if, by the time this goes up, whether or not people will actually still particularly care about Double Rainbow, since I saw a number of people on forums just going people are only hanging on it now because it's it just came out, and give it a couple of weeks and, everyone will come around. And I was just sort of thinking, actually, I want to see if in a couple of weeks anyone even remembers Double Rainbow.
Does it still exist? What is this phenomenon?
What is Double Rainbow?
He's alive!
Who?
Lightning. He spoke.
Oh, yes, he did. But anyway, sorry, getting off on a tangent about Double Rainbow, which I think we've beaten that dead... Oh, wow, that's a poor turn of phrase.
We've beaten that dead? Oh, good. I was hoping we did that.
That dead point... beyond recognition. Let's just use that. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
My God, man.
I know.
Savage.
Any rate.
Savage and unprofessional.
Well,
but
we're not
at
very
any rate, on the subject of good writing, actually another point that I kind of want to bring up about writing, and this is something that I see a lot of hate for, and I really understand why there's a lot of hate about this. This isn't something that you do, and I'm not going on this because I think it's saying it's bad. I don't believe you have, no. Original characters, OCs. There are a lot of people who basically see OC in something and are like, okay, done, not touching that. And I can't entirely blame them because there are a lot of terrible OC stories.
There are.
There are so many bad stories. Even cutting out the obvious, Dusk, Starlight was a black alicorn with red hair who lived in the Everfree Forest and fought, trained with swords all day long.
Trained with swords all day.
No one understood him.
No one understands him until today.
Well, not until today. You have to find the magic of...
Lightning remembered something. Shh. What is it?
One of those amazing stories. I read one, which isn't a very good example because it was really it was a complete self-insert. But it was, I think the guy was called Bill, and I know it's a very ordinary name. And basically, in this story, humans somehow managed to get into a question.
Oh, this one! Yeah, I remember you talking about
exactly.
this.
Yeah, and basically, after a while, because they were... By the way, this was really badly written. I'm recounting it better so that it's more readable. But the humans started to develop powers. Some of them became very tall and strong, like giants.
I thought we were already taller and stronger than ponies.
Some of them could wield magic. No, that was it. Some of them could wield fire and things like that. And then
Firebenders?
Bill got the ability to basically make, if he was wearing some cufflinks made out of whatever, he could make armor out of whatever the cufflinks were made out of.
Curious.
That is
and
convoluted.
he was trained by the highest scholars and
The
fighting
highest scholars.
people in the land, and then he was like the one fighting weapon, and the king was like, right, okay, you need to defeat the ponies because they got into a war somehow. And he was like, no, I don't want to do that. So he runs away, gets captured by them, and then he seems to have no problem when they say, would you fight for us? He seems to have no problem killing his own people.
I am not a
saying
killer.
that
Will you
he
kill
wouldn't
for us?
mind doing that.
Well, as long as I'm only killing humans, sure.
So that's the thing. The other thing was that he escaped in like a laundry basket that these berserkers, which are the giants, were taking out to another city, and they killed all of them, but they didn't kill him. And the other thing is that Celestia tries to read his mind. No, Twilight tries to read his mind because they're trying to find out whether he's telling the truth or not. And he manages to shoot the beam out of himself and read Celestia's mind.
You mean Twilight Zone? Oh, okay.
What?
Okay.
And he's
I want to
like,
go
"Oh,
read this.
I
We
have
need to
what
do a
you
review
have."
on this.
Honestly, I was trying to find it recently and I couldn't remember what it was called.
How
but
dare
I
you?
really
How dare you? It's called
Oh,
Bill Goes to
man.
Ponyville?
We're going to have to do an episode on that at some point. Also, another story that I want to talk about at some point. I don't want to do it in this one because I want you guys to all have a chance to read it before we actually talk about it. But The Memoirs of a Reality Jumper.
Oh, that one. I remember you talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, the story of a human who goes to Equestria and has all the ponies fall in love with him.
Aww.
And it goes on for like 30 chapters.
And then
Wait, what one was that?
Memoirs of a Reality Jumper. I just,
Yes.
yeah, it is 30. There are over 35 there are over 40 chapters of this story.
Okay.
It's still going on, and it's basically the banal adventures of Mr. Random, nobody, who is also a super sword fighting knifeman with tons of money, who ends up in Equestria and has a relationship with Rainbow Dash while all the other ponies fall in love with him, and they all fight each other, but then he's like, no, I may be a simple, terrible person who is full of pain and regrets,
I'm hearing this in
but
Arnold
I know that you are
Schwarzenegger's
friends,
voice.
so you will no longer be fighting with each other anymore. And they're like, you're so right. Why would we fight over you when you're so perfect as to explain as how we shouldn't be fighting over you?
Jesus.
I heard that in Arnold
My
Schwarzenegger's
entire
voice.
life has been pointless up to this point. Oh my god, that's
So we got
Yeah,
those
that's
two
me.
stories. What was the other story I said we should read too? There's another one. There was those two and one more. We're going to read now.
Wait, hold on. So the point was though
There's a
that
point?
not all OC stories are bad. I don't know if we go on like the tangent of how much they all suck, but
Not all OC stories are bad.
OC stories can be good. It's just an original character. In fact, when I started reading fan fiction, before I got into before I read Think Fallout Equestria, where I actually decided I didn't hate fan fiction. My one thing about fan fiction was I didn't particularly care before it, but I was like, okay, maybe I'd enjoy it if it was OC, because if it's original characters, then there's less screwing up the canon. There's less like, one of the problems I had with fan fiction was the fact that everything that happened in it, and this is actually something that kept me away from shipping for a really long time as well, was anything that happened, no matter how good or bad, would inevitably, only exist within the canon of the single story, which was sort of nihilistically depressing. But one of the things I kind of liked about the idea of an OC story was that it didn't necessarily have to, since you could always just shove it into the background and go like, okay, it happens in the world, it happens in the setting, that's interesting, but it's not directly affecting anything that happens, and therefore it's not screwing up canon, and it won't be erased by canon.
It can only fail again within its own self-contained universe. It can't actually bother the canon stuff, basically. So I think it's a good. Yeah, but I think it's a good point. The thing with the OCs, because there's two sides to it, obviously, but it's interesting because I have a friend for whom only OC content as such is interesting. The canon stuff isn't interesting at all because for her it's more interesting and important with the people related to it, like people's OCs, etc. That's what's interesting. Whereas using OCs in stories and such, there was a story called Antipodes. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that.
Anthropology?
Yes.
No, Antipodes.
I remember that one.
Yeah, exactly, because it came up on the Equestria Daily like 2 years ago, and I think it finished something like last week. No, not quite, like half a year ago. It took forever to finish. And that was an adventure story with a full OC cast, which I think is pretty interesting. It's like, OCs doesn't necessarily have to mean boring, but at the same time, people for people who are into fanfic, arguably the most extreme of the different fan-made content media, whatever you want to call it, they're usually into it because they like the show, they want more of the show, etc. That's why that's my bit for why I think canon stuff and canon characters are more interesting. So I use them to supplement the main cast. Basically, I could never base something around an OC because that's not interesting for me. That's a very personal decision, of course. I'm certain there are pure OC based that are interesting. I mean, I've read stories, I'm sure, just can't remember them.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing with the with the background characters in this series. Like, MLP is kind of interesting in that there are so many background characters whose personalities are pretty much entirely derived from the fandom. And they actually they're an interesting case because they kind of straddle the line between being OCs and being, canon characters, since names and personalities are the same. Obviously, you can't, there's no chance of Lyra being played as a, blood red and midnight black Alicorn.
Well, you never know. I mean, there could be some secret kind of spell that goes on or something like that, some cosmic event that happens.
Lyra turning into a human does happen with disturbing frequency. But at any rate, the point is, the characters have no defined personality. The thing is, they have fanon personalities, Lyra being human-obsessed, Tavia and Vinyl Scratch being an item, Vinyl Scratch being sort of a party animal, Spitfire, okay, well, she's
Spitfire, you can go with Soren.
Soren basically has no character within the fandom. Within the show, not within the fandom. Derpy.
Big issue. That was a big thing that went on.
Yeah, there's a fortune in muffin-themed things being sold. Our channel, Muffin Lovin' Productions, has a muffin on it. The entire basis of that entire joke, in canon, comes from Derpy looking pretty excited about the idea of free muffins, while everyone was super excited about the idea of free muffins.
But the problem was Derpy wanted free muffins.
It was because she said muffins.
Yes. So basically, the thing is, it's kind of this weird thing where, there are vaguely defined personalities with the background ponies, but they are largely fanon. The thing is, one story I actually really like is Spyra, which is a story that takes the characters of Lyra, Carrot Top, Song Note, I don't remember his name, it's blue pony with a musical notes key mark, and
Blues, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and Blues. That's it. And Berry Punch. And the idea was it wasn't based on the personalities that the fandom gave them, but instead it was a kind of a thing about how they had fandom, widely accepted fandom names, but then they also had names that were given to them by the blind bags. And most of them ended up getting changed, canonically being changed to either incorporate or to become the fandom names, because they realized, hey, who's going to buy this shit? This stuff if not for the bronies, and so why not just name them the things that they're already calling them? But the idea behind the story was that the four characters were spies, and that the whole premise was the catch was their fandom names were the real names, and the official blind bag names were their identities.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good story. But the point is, none of the characters in that, with the slight exception of Berry Punch pretending to be an alcoholic, had anything to do with their with their yes. But the point was that none of the characterizations had anything to do with their fandom characterizations. They were all totally original. And the thing is, Lyra had basically no relation with Bon apart from being kind of friends. They just happened to be in the same area at the same time a few times. They basically just threw out everything that the fandom had said as accepted fanon for the characters. And the thing is, technically, fair game. They don't have established canon personalities, so it's you want to make them totally different than fanon's general interpretation. That's totally cool because it's not breaking canon.
Yeah, some Rapid fans will, of course, rebel because their favourite pony is a background pony with one discerning trait from canon, and then get all up in arms about it. But most people won't and shouldn't find issue with that, like distinguish between canon and fanon.
Yeah. And so the point is, we get to this situation where we have, can characters, OCs, and then this weird middle ground, with the background characters.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, and of course Derpy as well, like what her intelligence level is. I haven't read all of your stories. I've read most of them, but I don't think I've seen Derpy appear in any of them.
I'm quite certain I mentioned her by name in one story once, so no.
Yeah, did you call her Derpy or Ditzy?
Oh gosh, I don't actually remember. I think this was before the whole controversy, actually.
No, fair enough. I've seen people go both ways on that. And again, I've seen a lot of different interpretations of intelligence level with her. Some people going like she is straight up, mentally handicapped, but good meaning, well-meaning, mentally handicapped, and just, stupid. Not actually stupid at all, just a little bit clumsy and a little bit misunderstood. Totally, fine, just with sort of a weird eye thing and a little bit of clumsiness. Sort of dumb, but not really stupid. Just kind of, a little bit dim, like a whole range of
areas.
And again, all of them are fair game.
Yeah.
Since there's even within the accepted idea of her being kind of klutzy and her name being either Derpy or Ditzy, there's no defined she is this. Like, bottom line, she is this thing.
Well, Ramadash called in the episode called her Derpy, so.
Yes. Though they then changed it, and
they just took out the name.
Again, they took
people raged.
And people raged.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't actually have a problem with people who decide to go the whole Ditzy route thing. Like, that's fine. If they kind of feel like it's more, more polite. And honestly, I actually do find it kind of offensive when people do. Like, I don't mind Derpy. I don't mind her being kind of dim. But I do kind of actually get a bit offended when people, turn her into completely mentally handicapped to the point where she's just, severely mentally handicapped. I find that kind of poor taste.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, Derpy is kind of its own topic in some ways as well for fan fictions in general.
It is. But
it's a huge issue.
Yeah, the point was we were actually going to talk about Cloudy's work, which
I
is,
know he doesn't have Derpy in it, so
I know. But you should get on that. We demand that you write a Derpy story about how wonderful she is, and she marries a black and red alicorn.
The problem is she's so tied to the Doctor in many ways at this. I mean, if I'm going to use background ponies, and in that case the most fanon characterized ones, I tend to give them a different twist just because I can. I mean, one of my stories deals with yes, exactly, and I'm considering that one wasn't very groundbreaking anyway. I don't write groundbreaking stories, but what I consider doing is writing a follow-up involving Vinyl Scratch. In doing so, I would never adhere to the standard fanon, not just because I want to be difficult, but because it's not fun to reiterate upon the same types that fanon has hammered down on so many times. It's more fun to explore different facets. And
part of why you haven't done Apple Dash so far, right?
That's correct. It's been done so many times, and I know that Chernobog, a good friend of mine, is constantly nagging me because he wants me to write it, because he wants it to be more Apple Dash. He's a nice person like that, and also the most rabid Apple Dash fan you'll ever find. He wants me to write more because he wants to see my take on it, I guess. But it's so hard to find a different angle on that. So it's more attractive to go by the less common chips like apple pie and stuff like that.
Well, you are a fan of somewhat of a fan of the other popular pairing, the Dash Shy, Dash Fluttershy.
Flutterdash, yeah.
Flutterdash. I've never been able to figure out how you're supposed to put those names together.
Whichever one rolls off the tongue easiest, I guess. I don't think there's a standard for it. But yeah, of course. But then again, there's no ship I don't like, honestly.
Really? Because I've never seen you even try to do, even suggest that you might do Rarity Fluttershy.
No. I would love to do that. Like, as long as it's the main six and or possibly a princess in there somewhere. I'm a huge fan. I have no problems. Like, I have my limits. I probably won't do anything with Spike or stuff like that. But I mean,
be good. That would be real good.
No, it's there's that. But honestly, it's a minefield. I don't want to say too much more about that. Let's just say I'm not going to do it.
Fair enough. But yeah, no. So, what kind of inspired you to get into shipping as a subgenre?
Oh wow, I want to say I have no idea because so Building Bridges, the first story I wrote, was from it was written like early summer 2011. Prior to that, I had no interest in romance as a genre in like outside of ponies or inside. Like romance was not a part of my life. Let's put it that way. And then I was like just getting into ponies at this point, and I think I'd read a small amount of fanfic, and I just realised that fanfiction was not evil. Like prior to this, I was convinced that fanfiction was just silly, and in my mind, fanfiction was, as it probably is in the case for, or as is probably the case for many people. Still, fanfiction to me was Spock and Kirk and crazies and crazy people doing crazy things. Like, and then I read a few stories. Most notably, I think the first really good story I wrote was one of Datrin's. Flutter Dash, not quite shipfic. I forget what it's called. Adventure. I'm going to have to find the name of it.
The name of this author, both for the sake of our viewers and for my own sake, because honestly, like anything that you suggest, I'm probably going to take a look at least.
Datrin is amazing. I could talk for hours and then about how he's inspired me to get into adventure, in fact.
Adventure is out there!
Adventure time!
Yes. But no, not adventure time. Please no. Just no.
Yeah, you do know that Flufflepuff, the Flufflepuff person, is a big Adventure Time fan.
Oh, yes, but that doesn't mean I have to like Adventure Time.
No, it doesn't. It just means that people would taste like Adventure Time.
No. You keep thinking that.
Anyway, continue.
Better help you sleep at night.
The deal was, anyways, I basically, at this point, Twidash wasn't a thing. So I just thought up, like, if I were to write, what would I write? And I have no idea why I chose shipping. I honestly can't remember and I have no idea. But I just arrived upon, okay, let's write something really freaking silly. And Twidash was what I arrived upon. And so I did. I just sort of hammered it out. And after the help of a few friends who, at this point, had a concept of formatting and spelling and syntax and language.
Those people.
Yeah, exactly. They told me that, hey, that's not how you... Formatting is not pressing enter every now and then. That's not how you do it.
What?
No, exactly. So basically, I just thought, okay, sure, I wrote this, I published it, and Building Bridges to date is still my most popular story. I don't... like the whole feather thing, it was an idea that I got from another story. It was like Trixie Shy, I think it was. And then that somehow after I wrote it into Building Bridges, is now everywhere, and I have no idea how that happened. And like every author has to deal, every fanfic author, I think, has to deal with the fact that their most popular story will never be the story they wish were the most popular. Mm-hmm. But there it is. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to write more because I submitted to Equestria Daily. They liked it. They posted up. I got massive good feedback, tons of fan mail and everything. I was like really overwhelmed. I have no idea that it was going to go like that.
That's how it often happens. I have no idea that's going to happen like that.
Yeah, exactly. It was amazing. So I wrote another story, Within and Without, which was adventure because, again, inspired by Datrin, but I still had to make part of it shipping. And that one also was really well received. Hammered that one out, wrote a book of 150,000 words in 5 weeks.
Fancy.
Still no idea how it happened. And after that, I just started, shipping was the thing I wrote. I've made like a few exceptions, but right at this point, I don't know how not to write shipping.
I see.
Short answer, I have no idea how I began, I cannot stop.
Yeah, I kind of had that problem with dark stories, not fan fiction, because, again, actually... really bizarrely, like I basically had the exact same, like from the slightly different perspective, I had the exact same fanfiction idea that you did going into the fandom. I thought it was, Kirk and Spock, and I have friends who were big into slash ficking and like like not like romantic fics, but like it gets steamy.
Random self-insert furry male pregnancy bonanza.
Well, maybe not that bad, but a lot of kind of like, oh, these two guys are so kawaii. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but like they're so cute and bishi, like the two guys who like each other, who are like hot, and therefore they should totally hook up and make out. And I was like, okay, that's great. Whatever floats your boat.
That's nice. What's over
but
here?
then I kind of read on a big train ride. I've said this a few times, but I had a big train ride. I read Pass-ins, which I wasn't overly impressed by, but did inspire teach me enough about like, well, okay, this is a hell of a lot better than what I thought fan fiction could be. And then I read Fallout Equestria and loved it, and was like, okay, I'm sold now. And then like with you, I was sort of like, okay, shipping. Yeah, I don't want to touch that, because if you have romance, it's inevitably going to end up as porn. Let's face it. Romance always leads in sex, and I don't want that. That's fine.
That's a healthy attitude to take into life.
Oh god, yeah, no. But anyway, the point is, I was sort of like, okay, this is not for me. But I eventually read your thing, and I was like, okay, yes. So I found it kind of amusing that sort of like you started writing shipping, and you were like, okay, this is actually something that's not that bad. I can do it. I read your shipping, and I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. This is something I can read.
I'm glad to say so, but it's like, I mean, that implies that I only felt it could be done well because I wrote it myself, and that's not at all the case, because that sounds very, very... wrong. No, I did read a few shipping stories before I wrote them. I just wish I could remember all of them. I just remember that one Trixie Shy that made me use the whole feather thing. But beyond that,
really, hold on, the Trixie Shy. Wait, hold on, wait, Trixie Shy. What?
Trixie Shy. Yeah, no, that's what I read a lot more different stuff way back when than I do now. Right now, my tastes are very narrow, but back then, I was like from World of Warcraft crossovers to Trixie Shy to Dark Fic and everything.
Yeah, I'm basically down for whatever, as long as it's not Twilight Trixie.
No. Does that mean you never read Gravekeeper's Trixie's Ballads?
No, I haven't. Is it good?
Well, that's a shame. It was allegedly Seth's favourite fic for a while. Problem is, I'm
not even remotely surprised.
No, yeah, no one is. But it's kind of old, and it updated very slowly, and it hasn't had an update for half a year now.
Ooh,
and
lovely.
that update was after half a year of silence, and is not quite as good as anymore. Last chapter was a bit overproduced, in my opinion. But point is, it's possibly the funniest romance comedy I've ever read, and I do recommend it, even if you won't get to finish it. The first few chapters are marvelous.
Nice. I just generally have a relatively low opinion of a lot of Trixie stuff, because I've seen way too many people try and turn her in. God damn it! The term I want to use is a terrible pun.
Use it. I dare you.
Okay. A lot of the stories I've read that involve Trixie try and turn her into the ensemble Dark Horse. Yeah, you're so
that's pretty clever.
But the point is, they try and turn her into like the misunderstood, so awesome, like no one else,
she's
gets
so
it.
Misunderstood.
She's totally awesome and cool, and everyone was just being mean to her.
Just give her a chance.
Leave Brittany alone.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. But I find her to be generally irritating, either because she's irritating in the canon, or because they try so hard to rewrite her as this sympathetic martyr that she ends up becoming incredibly irritating the other direction.
Yeah. Well, we do have some more canon on her now, fortunately.
Yeah, it's true. And I like her a lot more now than I did then. But
I liked when she tripped and fell on her face.
That was
I was going to say, it was amazing slapstick.
Yes. But no,
that's why I like season 3. Good slapstick.
The unfortunate thing, though, is actually just sort of on a slightly different note. Is I actually, after reading some of your stuff, I tried to go on and read some more.
Shipping.
Shipping.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, that's the topic we're talking about.
I know that word.
Okay, Cabral.
Hey, Lightning, are you still alive?
Possibly.
Okay. He's still there. Just making sure he doesn't fall asleep in this.
Yeah. But the funny thing was actually, you know what I said before about like, like shipping, like romance stories always lead to porn, whatever.
No.
I said I was going to sit down and like try and find something good. I was like, you know what? Know who are like my two favorite characters? Fluttershy and Rarity. You know what I'm going to look for? I'm going to look for a story with the two of them. There's sort of an implied romance and followed a crusher between them, and that was kind of cool. So yeah, I want to see a story like that. So I went around, I was like, okay, this looks all right. It's sort of a classic rom-com setup. It's like Fluttershy ends up like getting Rarity and Rainbow Dash after her, and yeah, like she ends up trying to date them both at the same time. You know, wacky romantic shenanigans ensue. Like, okay, that looks fun. That looks
fun.
Goofy but enjoyable. So I started reading it. I was like, okay, this is kind of boring, but it's all right. It's not that bad. Then out of nowhere, it's just and then sex happens.
Oh.
And then lots of sex happens.
Cue the music.
Like, whoa, okay, I'm done now. We're done. I think I'm okay not reading shipping anymore. And then a couple of weeks later, I was like, hey, let's see. Oh, guys writing a new story. Gonna read this now.
I'm gonna read this.
Was it not properly tagged then?
Kind of. Like, the thing is, it wasn't marked as mature. Like, there was a side story that was supposed to be like just the sex bits, and I was like, okay, I can just skip over that. That's fine. But then, like, they basically go everything up to sex. Like, they go like heavily implied, softcore. Like, not enough to get a sex mature rating, but enough that's like, this is making me uncomfortable.
It's just softcore porn. Just don't be such a prude, right?
But yeah, I was like, I wanted a cute, funny shipping story about the magical ponies in love. This isn't what I wanted.
One does not simply get what they want. We've been over this. One doesn't really get what they want.
You can't always get what you want, so love the one you're with.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the one.
Oh, lordy.
Yes.
At any rate. A question I was going to ask you a while ago, but completely forgot about.
Makes sense.
Who's your favorite character in the show?
Oh, gosh. Oh, no, you can't do this to me.
Is it me?
Yes, I can.
Is it me?
And I will.
Am I your favorite character in the show?
It is.
Okay.
It is you.
I knew it. Yes!
No, the thing is, I hate playing favorites. I really do. I just cannot play favorites.
Oh, why not? I love doing that. I get all my little cousins together and go like, guess which one of you is my favorite? Auntie.
Guess which one of you is my favorite?
Discriminatory.
Me? No, Tommy, shut up. No one cared for you. Aww.
No, it's like if you say that, you imply you like the others less, and I simply don't. Like the diplomatic, actual official answer is no one. But if I have to judge, I can say that while I don't have an OTP, as they're called, aka favorite chip.
Okay.
I will say that I'm particularly weak to Appleshy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, you wrote a 3-part story about it, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, I don't have favorite. I will say, however, that when it comes to writing, if it is all relevant, I get a lot of positive feedback on the way I write Pinkie Pie, and I think
no. the entire archive of Pinkie Pie stories. You enjoy writing Pinkie?
Yeah, it's very fun, and recently I also had a lot of fun writing Rarity, and writing the first story in the Where Earth Meets Sky trilogy was actually an absolute delight, writing Fluttershy's stuff. So, see, there's a problem. I try to pick one, and then I see the strength of all the others as well. It just doesn't work for me. I'm really sorry.
That's okay. No, that's fine. Actually, I was going to say, I was actually thinking that it would probably end up as being like Pinkie or Dash, considering how often you write them. But
yeah, for the first half of my writing, I wrote Pinkie, Dash, and nothing but, I guess.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. But it doesn't actually make sense. I remember at the end of your Lost and Found, you put up an author's note, basically just writing your process and picking what pair you were actually going to write about. Yeah. And it was just this giant list of every single possible combination of characters.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
I was like, well, okay, so apparently you really don't have like one like pair that you're just like, this is it, this is what I want.
Do what I want.
Yeah.
Do what I want.
That's what I get.
What do I want? When do I want it?
Oh,
but yeah.
That's fair. That's actually probably a good way of going about it. It makes it a little bit more interesting. Not reading endless stories about the exact same characters is nice.
It's also the whole thing that I see people, including friends, who have these very clearly defined OTPs. Like one of the people I associate the most with is Kits, and he's been diehard onto the Pinky Dash since I met him. And it's got to be nice to have that kind of stability by all means, but it also feels limiting. And the second some people treat these switches like, I no longer love Pinky Dash now.
You no longer love them.
This
Exactly.
broke my heart.
It's like that. It seems very silly to me.
So Lightning the Second says hi. That's all.
I don't know. He's actually a big Apple Dash fan.
I'm not a fan of Dash X anything really personally. I just like Dash being Dash.
Dash being Dash.
Yeah.
What up?
Ceiling. Why? What's up for you?
Ceiling, actually.
Actually, out of curiosity, what is your favorite episode?
No. I actually do have a clear answer to that. Like, I have the same loyalty to the episodes that I do characters.
How dare you?
It's like I don't want to say one because that implies I don't like the other episodes. I will say that there are very few episodes I don't like, but if I had to pick one, it would have to be Dragon Shy.
Ooh.
For obvious Apple Shy reasons, in fact. It's like, think about it, like the show is equal parts, no, not equal parts, it's actually in equal parts, adventure and slice of life. It has some of each, and this episode kind of, it does exactly that. It has adventure, yet slice of life. It includes all the main six, which is really good. And it has lots of friendly banter, and it even comes with a tiny song. Like, it fills all the criteria, and it has, I don't know, ponies being nice to each other.
Implications.
Ponies being nice to each other. That's most episodes.
Yeah, and implications have got, like, Dragon Shy was the basis for writing the first Apple Shy fic I ever wrote.
Fair enough.
Like you have to base your stories on something.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, you could just make it up and have fun with it, too.
Well, if you just make up as you go along, chances are you're probably not going to end up with a particularly emotionally resonant story. You might end up with a very funny story, but just going like, you know what? Here's the idea. The pitch is, Rainbow Dash eats a lamp. I think you actually mentioned that to me before. It was like, Rainbow Dash eats a lamp. There's the story.
I could write something on that.
The best part is you probably hit the feature box on Film Fiction instantly.
Probably would.
Because of
I've hit the feature box before. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
I'm lost.
Oh, Lightning, you're still here.
What's the story?
Wasn't it The Little Things?
Yeah, it was The Little Things in Life.
Oh, it was not Pony Dust Thing. I'm impressed.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just a shameless rip-off of, I completely forgot the name of that story.
What, Milo Dashi?
Milo Dashi.
It's not a rip-off.
No, it isn't. It's not, but
different.
It's funny to say it is.
Oh, yeah, it is funny to say, because it's similar circumstances a little bit, but overall it's completely different. There's actually more chapters than there are in Milo Dashi.
Yes.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
No, I still think I'd still like to at some point sit down and write a parody of that story, but with Rarity. Because honestly, I think she'd have a much better time in the human world than Dash would.
Going to the mall, seeing the sights, going to France.
Still having to deal with the restraints of having to be locked up in like a house with like a crazy dude who's like, oh no, the government will take you away if you get seen.
Is she going to become fat like she did in Fan Flan Philosophies, Milo Dashi?
Possibly not. But the thing is, I just love the idea of Rarity, Rarity ending up with someone who realizes how friggin' rich they could get off of an ability to locate gems through the earth, and Rarity just sort of ending up without being able to express her creative drive, because she can't get out, just sitting on the couch all day watching Project Runway.
There you
go. The problem is that all the parodies have been done at this point, with my fear at least.
I know they really have been, but still.
And for the record, Film Flan Philosophies was excellent.
He's a very funny guy.
Yeah.
and that one was just amazing, and the song and everything. Oh, so good.
Oh, good, yes.
It was amazing.
I do like the implication of all humans being monkeys. That's, I mean, it makes all the sense if you were just sort of going like, okay, here is a human without, proper description, but you could have like the basis of, creatures that exist in the world without humans. They're monkeys.
They're monkeys. All right.
Gorillas in suits, and they drive cars.
And then they turn to the ponies.
Yes.
And that.
Oh,
The end. My Little Pony. I just wonder what friendship would be. Oh,
Happy ending after all.
I don't think we've asked you what got you into My Little Pony.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess that's a question.
Well, it is a question. Everything's a question. I mean,
it is a question, I guess. No, see, I don't like answering because I don't want to think that I like one pony more than, oh, wait, no, I have no diplomatic answer for this one. I'm going to have to give you the truth, aren't I?
Yes.
No, it's no big thing. It's just, I heard about it, and I have a friend, Ocean Breeze, the guy who did those little the pocket pony things. I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah. And he was into it before me. Like he was like, "Hey, you should watch the show," and I was like, already at that point considering it. And as it works when you're a stupid person like me, someone saying you should watch this means you put it on hold for a bit. Mm-hmm. But eventually, I watched it, and I found it was good. I don't know. I wonder why I liked it. Don't we all?
I think that's everyone. Like, why do I like this? There's talking,
exactly.
colorful ponies. Yet it's enjoyable.
But still, you watch it, and I finished it, and I thought to myself, it would be left at that kind of, I'm sure there are people who just watch it and leave it at that. I know, I have a roomie who...
I used to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but in this
case... I have a friend who watched the show, and she likes the show, but she isn't really into the fandom at all.
No, exactly, and
like
that's
that.
completely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine and fair, but in my case, it was like, watched it, okay, and then realised I wasn't done, and then the second I created a character in some game or other, I was like, what am I going to call it? Wait, no, what am I doing? And then you realise you kind of have a foot inside the door, and then came the writing and everything.
Yeah,
it's
also with the shows, it's kind of like the Disney movie thing, where everyone will more than likely go watch a Disney movie when it releases.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. It has that it's that good family cartoon feel.
Depending on what Disney movie.
Depending on what Disney movie.
We want to see everyone's rushing out to see Air Bud 6, but...
Well, yeah. But overall, Disney cartoon animation
good
films.
Animated
traditional hand-drawn Disney cartoons and Pixar digitally animated films are the type of things that most people will just go out and see.
Yeah, Monster University. I'm going to go see that this summer because I want to go see it. It's Pixar.
Just quickly, so we're talking about all of the really good films like Cars 2 and Planes and Boats.
Actually, Planes is pure Disney.
Ones.
It's not Pixar.
Lightning,
No,
I could just...
that's what I said.
It is Pixar. It's all Pixar.
Yeah.
Lightning, I might actually take a trip to England at some point.
What?
Yeah, I have family in England.
You have family in California, too?
No, yes, I might go and visit you in California. But more importantly, to what you were just saying there, Lightning, I come over there. See some friends and family in England, maybe visit the globe, meet up with Keith and Jax again. Actually, I have a friend who was in an episode of Doctor Who, Jax, who's an actress. Anyway, while I'm there, I'm going to come over to your house, knock on your door. When you come and answer, I'm going to kick you.
Not if I kick you first.
I kick you first.
Never. This is a lesson that you must learn. Never interrupt an Englishman while he's drinking tea. Never.
I will
Bad
have
things
my
happen.
own tea ready, and we will kick each other in the shins.
I will come and colonize your country again. Don't think I won't.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see you try. This time we won't need the French to bail us out.
Yeah. You may have a bigger military, but we go and run on a quality, not quantity, I feel.
Well, while you go invade the East Coast, I'll just stay over in sunny California. The English can't handle the sun. They won't touch us over here.
Actually, to be fair, America could probably wipe us out. They're very well known for a friendly fire.
A little bit.
Need I say more?
Yes.
Okay.
Politics.
I'll think of something later.
Well, it's not politics. We're just making fun of each other's countries I would live in.
Okay, let's make fun of politics. But anyway, point is...
Well, except Cloudy's country. We didn't make fun of
Hey,
that
speaking of politics, you know what question I'm going to ask next?
Who's your favorite leader? Lunar blah blah?
Best princess, both in terms of popularity and, or alternatively, in terms of who you think would actually make a better ruler. Like, who would be the better to have in charge of the nation.
Clearly
Celestial
Lightning
Empire
Rabbit.
or New Lunar Republic?
Okay, first of all, I think the whole conflict thing there, which is thankfully a lot less prevalent right now than it was a year ago.
It's ninjas versus pirates.
I think. Okay. First off, I know this is not the question, but I always found it a bit silly when people were sort of portraying them as being polar opposites or opposed or
Very similar.
Yeah, like the war was between them was something that would be inevitable or something. I always thought that was silly.
The war is inevitable.
No, the war is silly because
It approaches on the horizon.
They've ruled together for who knows how many years before.
4 years. 4 years, and then Luna got banished.
Okay, see, I'm going to go with more than 4 years, but yeah,
5.
point is, to me, them ruling together is a better thing. But however, I'm not going to answer this question with "I love the both" again. I swear.
Okay, good.
No, I think that I have to trust in the way I portray them when I write stories. Like that,
Yes, sir.
I write what I believe, I guess, and in that sense, I think Celestia is doing a very good job. I mean, she's kept the country together for 1,000 years by herself. She can keep ruling, and I like to portray Luna as a bit of a different creature, not evil, not dark and mysterious, and yada yada yada.
Misunderstood.
Different. No, oh God, don't use that word.
That's the other cliche that we haven't got onto yet.
Oh God.
Exactly. No. I like to think that maybe they're seeking some sort of. They both want to rule together again, and that's the ideal, sure. But Celestia's done a good job, and
Yeah.
True, she just doesn't need Luna. Luna, go run your own
that's
country.
one, but
good enough.
which character do you prefer, or which character do you prefer to write?
No! I have to chicken out here because
Okay.
to me the best thing to write is them together. There's nothing that makes me happier than writing Celestia and Luna talking together. Like
Okay.
the two of them associated with one another. That is
It's like Gamer,
amazing.
Luna, and Molestia.
Actually, yeah, that's a point. One thing I absolutely love is to read dialogue between the two characters because they talk so little normally
Yeah.
in the
Exactly.
show and stuff.
Exactly, and they have you can. Okay, first off, when it comes to the whole favorite and whatever, I mean, you have to accept that Celestia has characterization. She has,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
She has characterization. Luna doesn't.
Luna
But
just
there
looks
are
I think the thing with
implications.
the popularity contest between the two of them kind of comes down to this interesting thing between Celestia has characterization and is kind of this caring mother figure, where
Yeah, with-
Luna has a crap load of fanon characterization and a slightly
It's kind of like Derpy.
relatable kind of, loner-ish, odd, slightly outsider-ish
Yeah,
persona
but-
in Luna Eclipse.
But the beautiful thing is that Celestia is more nuanced. That she's been shown to have a humorous streak, and more than that, and she has doubt, she has shown fear, etc. She has shown a lot of emotion, etc. Whereas Luna's less defined, and that means you have to go on implications and lore and stories and stuff to make yourself a Luna. And I say a Luna because there are a lot of
There are a lot of
more-
Lunas.
Oh,
yeah, not just thinking about Gamer Luna versus all the other tropes and stereotypes. I just mean that when you sit and write and you use Luna, you have to accept that there are a lot of different characterizations that can all be true because she's not very defined.
No.
Yeah. Me personally, I prefer the Luna that spends her time on the moon wearing a paper hat and
I love that Luna.
obeying the commands of strange people.
I've seen some of that. Yeah, it's very cute.
It's an adorable Tumblr, and actually, the person who did that has done another Tumblr called Slice of Life, which I actually think
Oh yeah,
all of you would
same
read.
artist. That's
Yeah, the same artist.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same person, and
Yeah.
that is an adorable little Tumblr.
Yeah, I think it's egophiliac. Yeah, and Slice of Life is in a period where I don't watch as many Tumblr. I used to watch 50 or 60 of them. Right now, I pay attention to 2, and that's one of them because Slice of Life is amazing.
It really is good, yeah, no, and it's the same person, with a slightly more focused story, essentially. But wonderful art and really fun characterization.
Yes.
Really is.
Yeah. Also, snails.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like the
it's
monster.
so good.
That was really fun.
Snails is
Yeah.
cute.
Oh, good. But yes, no, that's more than fair. Saying that, the Celestia is a far more developed character than Luna, but the two of them are really an interesting pair to write about,
Yes.
since the two of them don't have a lot of don't have a ton of time that they spend talking to each other in character, but there's a lot of implied history there that could be really interesting. I mean, they're two sisters who really care about each other, but there's sort of this really awkward elephant in the room between the two of them. But on the other hand, that doesn't necessarily mean, goddammit, fanfiction writers, stop just making Luna, a misunderstood, angsty teenager.
It's like Trixie.
Please. Did you just say an elf in the room?
Elephant.
Because I heard elf.
Well, to be
There's
fair,
an elf in the room!
this is just staring at me from across the room. It's kind of
I have
freaky.
ponies in front of me staring at me. Like Rarity here. Hello, Rarity.
Stop saying hi to Rarity.
Yes, she's staring at me. Here, turn this way. There you go.
I
Face my
want
giant
an
jar of
excuse.
sand.
See, I want those toys too.
Actually, it's a
I want
bottle of
I
sand.
want the adorable toys, and I want the huggable, plushy thingies.
God, you guys, what's going on?
It's the people in this household will kill me.
I have an Applejack blind bag sitting next to a NASCAR, a polar bear, and a turtle.
Why don't I
What
just come over to your house and
How
punch
are you?
Cabral? Huh?
Okay.
How about that?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Well, what?
I just found something now.
Hey, I found another
I'm just,
NASCAR right here. It's in my closet. It's number 12.
We've gone horribly off topic again, but
I'm
unlike
sorry
that time
about
with,
this.
Clearwater and Schlumpy,
19
who we love you guys, and we want to have you back on the show sometime. But this time it
1997.
seemed to have actually gone slightly better than the last time. Everything went horribly off track.
Well, yeah, because I wasn't talking this whole time. You're talking about shipfix, which I don't read a lot of shipfix at all.
Oh, then this is
I've
an excellent
actually
opportunity
read
for you
quite
to.
a few in my time.
Oh, well, do you have any questions, Lightning?
I think everything we needed to ask has been covered. I'm just trying to think, because I remember some of the shipbooks I've read have turned into something slightly more sinister, which was also something we covered.
Yeah.
But sinister is in like dark, or sinister is in like
Sinister.
As in, how many days of blue blood?
no, 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 no. No, we're not going
At
back
first
there.
it seemed so innocent, and then...
What did it seem innocent? Okay.
When did it seem innocent? It's like that one where you had Luna and Spike.
What one was that one?
That was the one where the entire story starts off with Luna and Spike on a balcony gazing into each other's eyes.
Oh, was that the one that I started reading?
Yeah!
That one.
What was that called? I want to go and read that
I
now.
don't remember.
I don't know. You didn't tell us. All you read
We
was
could probably have a whole episode devoted to terrible stories.
We'll probably will. We'll
Can we have one on muscle cars?
No, we. What does that have to do with ponies at
How
all?
many times have you asked that question?
Twice. That's about it.
And that coupled with North Korea makes like 6 times.
Yeah. Why are you coupling that with North Korea?
Oh,
So those are the only 2 things you've ever suggested to talk about.
Actually, I've suggested a lot of other stuff before this.
I know, but you've suggested those 2 the most.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's North Korea and muscle cars. But you like muscle cars.
That's true. I can't complain.
point is, actually, I have no idea what the hell the point
But
is.
what about the pony cars?
And on that bombshell, it's time to end it.
It's time to end
Oh,
Top
right.
Gear.
Actually, we are just about out of time, so
Kind of was like a Top Gear episode. That's
yes,
what these
in
are,
that-
but with ponies. We just
yeah.
need more cars
there
now.
are still hundreds upon hundreds of questions that could or should be asked, but we're not going to ask them.
You know why? We don't know what to ask. So how was your
Yes, 'cause
day,
we don't-
Cloudy Skies?
It was great. I mean, it is great.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, yes, it's definitely.
It still continues
Yeah, that's
to
true.
be
Actually,
great.
no, it's
Yes, there we go.
8-hour or 10-hour difference. It's 10 o'clock for you or midnight?
It's
It's 11:30.
Oh, close enough. 9-hour difference. I'm wrong.
A 1 hour difference, actually.
Yeah, maybe we'll tag you back in when we decide to do an episode about horrible fan fictions. But
I was going to make that comment, like, talk about horrible fan fiction. Yay, I get another
Yeah,
episode.
we'll have you in here.
Yay!
This would be brilliant.
Relevant again.
I obviously have no problem having another Cloudy Skies episode. So,
Because this was the
but
more,
if-
like, controlled episode.
yes, until we decide to sit down and just tear into some god awful fan fictions. This has been End to End, and I've been Duhad.
Who's next?
Oh, not you. I
Oh,
guess.
okay. I'm AR. Hi.
I have been Lightning Rabbit 010K.
Oh, dramatic.
No, I'm supposed to speak.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you're
you're
good.
not. Don't say anything at all.
Yay. And I'm Cloudy Skies.
And we've been really happy to have you on the show. We hope you come back in future, and we'll see the rest of you next time.
And on that bombshell.